Today, we're diving deep into the most dangerous women on Earth and the countries they come from. These are women you definitely wouldn't want to cross. From the deadly spies of Cold War Russia to the notorious queens of the drug cartels in Colombia, these women have navigated dangerous worlds with precision and ruthlessness. Some use their sharp intellect to orchestrate plots that shake governments, while others control entire criminal empires, showing no mercy to anyone who stands in their way. What's fascinating is that danger comes in many forms. Whether through political manipulation, brutal violence, or sheer influence, these women have it all. So, which countries are home to these fierce and formidable women? You might be surprised. Some of the world's most dangerous women come from places steeped in history and power, where the line between hero and villain can blur in an instant. Whether it's the cold-blooded spies and assassins of Russia, the fearsome drug queens who've ruled Colombia's underworld, or the warrior queens of Nigeria who led armies into battle. These women have changed the course of history, and they're not done yet. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss more fascinating stories like this. And while you're at it, drop a comment below. Which country do you think will have the most dangerous women on our list? Let's find out, starting with number 5, where deadly spies and assassins rule the shadows. Number 5, Russian lady spies. At number 5, we're diving into the shadowy world of Russia, a country with a long history of producing some of the most dangerous women in the field of espionage and assassination. From Cold War spies to modern-day operatives, Russia's secretive network of female agents has left a mark on global history. These women aren't just gathering intelligence, they're the ones pulling the strings from behind the scenes, shaping the course of international politics and security. One of the most famous modern-day Russian spies is Anna Chapman, who became the face of Russian espionage in the West. In 2010, Chapman was arrested in the United States along with 9 other Russian sleeper agents in what became known as the Illegals program. This secret network had been operating in the US for years, gathering intelligence while living seemingly ordinary lives. Chapman, with her striking looks and charming personality, used social connections to build an intelligence network. After her arrest and subsequent swap in a spy exchange with Russia, she returned home to fame, embracing a new role as a public figure. But her case was just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Russia's legacy of female spies. Going further back, we find the chilling history of Margarita Konnikova, a Soviet spy who worked her charm on none other than Albert Einstein. Konnikova, under the cover of being a wealthy socialite, infiltrated US scientific circles and reportedly had a close relationship with Einstein himself. The depth of her influence and the secrets she may have extracted are still debated, but her ability to blend into high society while gathering intelligence is a testament to the skill of Russia's female agents. Russia's use of women in espionage isn't a new phenomenon. During the Cold War, female spies were often seen as more effective than their male counterparts, as they were perceived to be less suspicious and more capable of forming intimate connections with their targets. The infamous honey trap tactic, using romance or sexual attraction to extract secrets, was a favored strategy, and women were often at the center of these operations. But espionage isn't the only domain where Russia's women have made a dangerous impact. During World War II, the Soviet Union deployed female snipers who became some of the deadliest warriors of the conflict. One of the most famous was Lyudmila Pavlichenko, who earned the nickname Lady Death, after racking up an astonishing 309 confirmed kills, making her one of the deadliest snipers in history. Pavlichenko's exploits earned her international recognition, and she was even sent to the United States as part of a propaganda tour to gain support for the Soviet war effort. Another legendary figure from this era is Nina Lubkovskaya, a sniper who commanded an entire unit of female snipers during the Battle of Berlin. These women were not only trained in marksmanship, but also in the psychological warfare needed to destabilize their enemies. Their ability to remain calm under pressure and execute deadly precision strikes made them feared by their adversaries. Fast forward to today, and Russia's female operatives continue to be a force to be reckoned with. From the mysterious poisoning of ex-Russian spy Alexander Litvinenko in the UK, to the nerve agent attack on Sergei Skripal and his daughter in 2018, Russia's intelligence apparatus continues to operate with ruthless efficiency. While male operatives are often the public face of these operations, it's widely believed that women play key roles behind the scenes in planning and executing these complex missions. And it's not just in espionage where Russian women are making waves. In organized crime, powerful women have risen to the top ranks of Russian mafia organizations. These women are known for their brutal tactics and their ability to command loyalty in a male-dominated underworld. Figures like Lyubov Mikhailova, often referred to as the godmother of the Russian mafia, have built empires on crime, using their wit and ruthlessness to outmaneuver rivals, and survive in a world where few women dare to tread. From the deadly allure of spies like Anna Chapman to the cold-blooded precision of snipers like Lyudmila Pavlichenko, Russia's history of dangerous women is as vast as it is terrifying. Whether in the shadows of intelligence work or the brutal front lines of war, these women have shown that they can be just as formidable and deadly as their male counterparts. Number 4, Colombian drug queen. At number 4, we're heading to Colombia, a country known not only for its stunning landscapes, but also for its dark underworld of drug cartels. In this dangerous world, some of the most notorious and powerful figures have been women, females who didn't just survive in the male-dominated drug trade, but thrived and rose to positions of incredible power. These women aren't just ruthless. They've earned their reputations as some of the most dangerous in the world, leading violent criminal empires and leaving behind a bloody legacy. One of the most infamous women in Colombia's drug trade is Griselda Blanco, also known as the Black Widow or the godmother of cocaine. Blanco was a pioneer in the Medellin cartel and is credited with revolutionizing cocaine trafficking into the United States during the 1970s and 1980s. Her rise to power came at a time when men like Pablo Escobar and Carlos Leder were the faces of the drug trade. But behind the scenes, Griselda was just as powerful, if not more ruthless. Griselda Blanco wasn't just involved in trafficking drugs. She orchestrated brutal murders and was notorious for her violent temper. It's estimated that she was responsible for over 200 killings, including a series of hits that introduced drive-by motorcycle assassinations, a tactic that became a hallmark of the Medellin cartel. Blanco's reign of terror extended to the US, where she controlled cocaine distribution in cities like Miami, fueling the infamous cocaine cowboys era. Her influence stretched across borders, and her ability to evade law enforcement for decades only added to her legend. But Blanco wasn't the only woman to make her mark in Colombia's drug world. Other women have followed in her footsteps, leading cartel operations with the same brutality and cunning. For instance, Digna Valle, known as the Queen of the North, ran an extensive drug trafficking operation from the north of Colombia. While she may not have achieved the same global infamy as Griselda Blanco, her control over smuggling routes and cartel finances made her one of the most powerful women in the trade. Like many before her, Valle leveraged her charm and intelligence to build alliances and ensure loyalty within her organization. Another formidable figure is Maria Teresa Osorio de Serna, who controlled drug routes for the Cali cartel, one of the largest and most powerful drug trafficking organizations in the world. Osorio de Serna's role was critical in ensuring the smooth flow of cocaine into Europe, expanding the cartel's global reach. Despite her low profile compared to her male counterparts, her operational control and business acumen made her a key player in the cartel's success. The rise of women in the Colombian drug trade isn't just a relic of the past, it's still happening today. As cartels evolve and change, women continue to play significant roles, not just as traffickers, but also as cartel leaders and strategists. With the fall of many male leaders, women have increasingly stepped into leadership roles, proving that their ability to control vast empires of crime is just as formidable as any man's. So why have women been able to rise to such power in this notoriously violent and male-dominated industry? Part of the answer lies in their ability to navigate the complex social and political networks that support the drug trade. Women like Griselda Blanco were able to wield charm, intelligence, and strategic thinking to form alliances, control finances, and command loyalty. In a world where betrayal and violence are commonplace, These women proved themselves just as ruthless and capable as the men around them. But their power has also come at a high cost. Many of these women, including Griselda Blanco, met violent ends. Blanco was gunned down in 2012 in a motorcycle drive-by shooting, a death that echoed the very tactic she had popularized decades earlier. Her assassination marked the end of an era for Colombia's drug trade, but her legacy continues to loom large, influencing not only the drug world, but also popular culture. From television series like Narcos to documentaries and films, the lives of these dangerous women have captivated audiences worldwide. Their stories are as compelling as they are terrifying, a reminder that power in the world of drug cartels knows no gender boundaries. Number 3. China's Empress from the Shadows. At number 3, we traveled to China, a land steeped in history, where powerful and dangerous women have shaped the course of empires for centuries. From cunning empresses who ruled with iron fists, to modern-day women wielding influence in politics and business, China has seen its fair share of formidable female figures. The most dangerous of these women were not simply advisors or queens. They were rulers who commanded armies, executed ruthless political moves, and reshaped the destiny of their nation. One of the most infamous and powerful women in Chinese history is Empress Wu Zetian, the only woman in Chinese history to ever rule as emperor in her own right. Born in 624 AD during the Tang Dynasty, Wu Zetian began her political ascent as a concubine. But her ambitions and intellect quickly set her apart. Through calculated political moves, manipulation, and even accusations of murder, Wu consolidated her power over the years, eventually becoming the Empress of China. Wu Zetian's reign, which lasted from 690 to 705 AD, was marked by significant achievements in education, religion, and military expansion. She strengthened the empire's bureaucracy and opened up new avenues for scholars and officials, encouraging merit-based advancement. However, her path to power was paved with ruthless tactics, including purges of her rivals and opponents. It's said that she had many of her enemies executed, including members of her own family, to ensure that no one could challenge her rule. For her political enemies, Wu Zetian's reign was a reign of terror, and she remains one of the most controversial figures in Chinese history. But Wu Zetian wasn't the only powerful woman in China's long history. Centuries after her reign, another empress would rise to power and cast a long shadow over the country. Empress Dowager Cixi is another name that strikes fear and awe. Born in 1835, Cixi began her ascent as a concubine to Emperor Xianfeng, but soon wielded immense political influence. After the emperor's death, she became the de facto ruler of China, holding power from behind the throne for nearly 5 decades during the Qing dynasty. Cixi was a master of political survival, managing to control the empire through a series of regencies and manipulating male heirs to maintain her grip on power. She is often remembered for her extravagant lifestyle and resistance to modern reforms, which some historians argue weakened China in the face of growing foreign influence. However, Cixi was also a skilled and ruthless politician, using intrigue, espionage, and executions to eliminate her enemies and hold on to power. Her control over the imperial court was so absolute that few dared to challenge her, and those who did rarely survived. In modern China, women may not rule as emperors, but they continue to wield significant influence. Today, China is home to some of the most powerful businesswomen in the world, women who command vast corporate empires and shape global markets. Figures like Zhou Kunfei, the founder of Lens Technology, a major supplier for companies like Apple and Samsung, have amassed incredible wealth and influence. Zhou, who rose from poverty to become one of the richest women in the world, is a modern-day example of how Chinese women continue to reshape the landscape of power. Then there's Yang Huiyan, the richest woman in Asia, whose real estate empire has made her a force to be reckoned with in China's economy. With billions at her disposal and influence over vast swathes of the country's urban development, Yang represents the new face of power in China, one built not on political intrigue, but on economic dominance. But despite the progress and achievements of modern Chinese women, the legacy of powerful empresses like Wu Zetian and Cixi still looms large. These women demonstrated that in a world dominated by men, women could not only survive, but thrive, and rule with the same, if not more, ruthlessness, and cunning. Their legacies also speak to a larger cultural fascination in China with the concept of the dangerous woman. From empresses to business moguls, the dangerous woman in Chinese history is one who defies the traditional gender roles and rises to power through strength, intelligence, and often ruthless pragmatism. Even today, Chinese media and popular culture often depict strong, calculating female figures who wield power with precision, a nod to the country's long history of powerful women who ruled from the shadows. So, next time you think about China, don't forget that some of its most dangerous and influential rulers weren't men at all. From the imperial palaces of the Tang Dynasty to the corporate boardrooms of modern-day Beijing, China's women have shown that power knows no gender. What do you think of these empresses and powerhouses? Let us know in the comments below. But before we move on, get ready for a different kind of dangerous woman, one who leads armies into battle and changes the course of history. We're heading to Nigeria, where legendary warrior queens have ruled with fearsome might. Number 2, the warrior queens. At number 2, we venture into the heart of Nigeria, a country with a rich history of powerful and dangerous women, particularly the legendary warrior queens. These women weren't just symbolic figures. They led armies, conquered territories, and reshaped the course of their nation's history with iron resolve. Their stories have become the stuff of legend, but make no mistake, these warrior queens were real, and they struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. One of the most famous warrior queens in Nigerian history is Queen Amina of Zazzau. Born in the 16th century, Amina was a fierce and strategic leader who is remembered for her military prowess and expansionist campaigns. Amina was born into the royal family of Zaria, one of the major city-states in present-day northern Nigeria. From an early age, she demonstrated exceptional leadership qualities, and when her brother, the king, passed away, Amina ascended to the throne. Under Amina's leadership, Zazzau grew into a dominant military power, with Queen Amina leading her armies into battle herself. She is credited with expanding the kingdom's borders through a series of military conquests that reached as far as present-day Niger and Cameroon. Amina was not only a warrior, but also a brilliant strategist, fortifying her kingdom by building city walls that are still seen today in some parts of Nigeria. Her leadership was characterized by her refusal to back down in the face of danger, earning her the nickname Amina, daughter of Nikitau, a woman as capable as a man. Amina's legacy as a powerful warrior queen is still celebrated in Nigeria, and her story has inspired countless generations of Nigerians, especially women. Her life is a testament to the fact that leadership and strength know no gender, and that women, too, can lead their people into battle and triumph. But Queen Amina isn't the only formidable woman in Nigeria's history. In the 19th century, Queen Mother Nana Asma'u emerged as one of the most influential women of her time. Though not a warrior in the traditional sense, Asma'u was a scholar, poet, and political advisor who wielded significant influence in the Sokoto Caliphate, one of the largest empires in West Africa. Asma'u was a champion of women's education and used her political power to empower women in her society, setting a precedent for female leadership in Nigeria. In modern times, the legacy of these warrior queens lives on, as Nigerian women continue to take on powerful roles in politics, business, and social movements. One notable figure is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, a formidable leader who made history as the first woman and first African to lead the World Trade Organization, WTO. Before this, she served as Nigeria's finance minister and played a critical role in negotiating debt relief for Nigeria with global financial institutions. Okonjo-Iweala is known for her tough negotiating skills and her refusal to be intimidated by the male-dominated world of global finance. Another modern-day warrior is Obi Ezekwesili, a former government official turned activist who is known for her relentless fight against corruption and her leadership in the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, which sought to rescue the schoolgirls kidnapped by Boko Haram. Ezekwesili's activism has made her one of Nigeria's most influential and powerful women, standing up against terrorism and advocating for the rights of the vulnerable in society. Nigeria's warrior queens, both historical and modern, embody the strength, resilience, and courage that define the nation's women. From leading armies into battle to championing causes on the global stage, Nigerian women have continually shown that they are a force to be reckoned with. Their leadership isn't just about power, it's about using that power to protect their people, push for progress, and challenge injustice. What's even more fascinating is how these stories of warrior queens have become ingrained in Nigerian culture. In regions across the country, tales of Queen Amina and other legendary women are still told, passed down from generation to generation. These stories serve as reminders that women have always been at the forefront of Nigeria's fight for sovereignty, justice, and progress. They are not just part of the past, they continue to inspire the present and future generations of Nigerian women to stand up, lead, and fight for what they believe in. Now, as we wrap up our journey through Nigeria, we're heading to the land of ancient warriors and deadly assassins. Join us as we explore Japan, where female ninjas, known as kunoichi, operated in the shadows, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. Number 1. Japan's deadly female ninjas. At number 1, we enter the mysterious world of Japan, where the legend of the kunoichi, or female ninjas, has fascinated people for centuries. These deadly women were trained in the ancient art of ninjutsu, using stealth, seduction, and assassination to achieve their missions. The kunoichi weren't just the female counterparts of male ninjas. They were highly specialized warriors who employed tactics that relied on their intelligence, agility, and cunning to gain the upper hand in a dangerous, male-dominated world. The history of the kunoichi is deeply rooted in Japan's feudal era, a time when warlords and samurai vied for power. Female ninjas were often recruited for missions that required infiltration, intelligence gathering, or assassination. What made the kunoichi so effective was their ability to blend into their surroundings. While male ninjas often relied on physical strength and combat skills, the kunoichi used their perceived vulnerability as women to their advantage. Disguising themselves as maids, entertainers, or even wives, they could gain access to places where male spies could never go. One of the most famous kunoichi in Japanese history is Mochizuki Chiyome, a noblewoman who lived during the 16th century. Chiyome is credited with creating an entire network of female ninjas under the guise of a school for young women. Officially, her students were trained in the arts of poetry and etiquette, but behind closed doors, Chiyome taught them the deadly arts of espionage and assassination. These women were sent on missions to gather intelligence, poison enemies, and eliminate targets with lethal precision. Chiyome's network of kunoichi became so extensive that it's said she had hundreds of female spies working across Japan, all under the radar of the country's most powerful warlords. The tactics used by kunoichi were varied and often ingenious. They mastered the art of seduction, using it to lure their targets into vulnerable situations before striking. But they were also skilled in hand-to-hand combat, poison crafting, and the use of concealed weapons like daggers and throwing stars. One of the most famous weapons associated with kunoichi was the naginata, a pole weapon with a curved blade, which allowed these women to maintain distance from their enemies while delivering devastating blows. The kunoichi's role wasn't limited to direct combat. Much of their work involved espionage, gathering intelligence on enemy movements, troop deployments, or political alliances. This information was then passed on to their lords, who used it to gain the upper hand in Japan's often violent and ever-shifting power struggles. The kunoichi's ability to blend in with everyday society made them nearly invisible, allowing them to slip in and out of enemy territory undetected. But the legacy of the kunoichi doesn't end with Japan's feudal era. Even in modern times, the image of the female ninja has become a symbol of strength and cunning, inspiring countless characters in anime, manga, and film. The mysterious allure of the kunoichi has captivated audiences worldwide, and their stories of deception, danger, and deadly precision continue to be told in popular culture. In fact, the image of the female ninja has become so iconic that it has transcended Japan's borders. Movies like Kill Bill and characters like Black Widow in the Marvel Universe owe a great deal of their inspiration to the deadly shadowy world of the kunoichi. These modern-day interpretations of the female assassin continue to perpetuate the legacy of the kunoichi, portraying women as powerful, dangerous, and capable of outwitting even the most skilled male warriors. While much of what we know about the kunoichi comes from legend and lore, there's no denying that these women played a crucial role in Japan's history. Whether they were spying on enemy warlords or executing assassinations with cold precision, the kunoichi were feared and respected for their unique skills. Their ability to navigate a patriarchal society and use societal expectations of women to their advantage makes them some of the most dangerous women in history. But the story of the kunoichi is also a story of empowerment. In a world where women were often confined to traditional roles, these female ninjas broke the mold, proving that women could be just as deadly, if not more so, than their male counterparts. Their courage, intelligence, and resourcefulness allowed them to rise above societal expectations and become legends in their own right. So, the next time you think about ninjas, don't forget about the kunoichi, women who operated in the shadows, using their wit, their charm, and their deadly skills to change the course of history. These women were the true embodiment of danger, and their legacy continues to inspire fear and admiration to this day. Which part of the kunoichi legend surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more fascinating stories like this. Until next time, stay sharp, and remember, danger can come from the most unexpected places.